Path Media. I was a minimum wage movie theater usher that made good and became a top earner in my network marketing company. Now, after 16 plus years in the profession, I'm finally teaching myself how to leverage the internet with online marketing and social media marketing to continue to grow and expand my business. My name is Ronnie Cruz, and this is Path of the Network Marketer.
All right, welcome back to the show. Thanks for tuning in. Today, we're going to talk about category versus criteria. That's right, category versus criteria in the context of people. This was a principle, or is a principle, that I've been teaching for a decade at least. It is 2023. I have to get used to the year change. And it was born out of the question that I still get actually to this day, and is what kind of people should I go after, right? Like what kind of people should I prospect and talk to for my business? Now, of course, that's back then when a lot of things were still offline. We're talking about belly to belly, person to person marketing. That question would always come up, and the question would either be preceded or followed by the sentiment that I wish I had more blank people in my team. Like, I wish I had more lawyers in my organization. I wish I had more doctors. I wish I had more engineers, right? Or, when I first got started in network marketing, engineers were coming into the profession in droves. So everybody was looking to connect with more engineers, and so yeah, that was the predominant way of looking at prospecting or marketing. And I get it, right? Like, we're used to, we're programmed, we're wired to look at people as different categories and demographics, right? It starts from a very early age, especially if you went to school here in the U.S. Our school system automatically starts to categorize us from day one, right? You have your advanced readers, you have your intermediate, I guess, and then you have your little bit behind individuals like myself that weren't so good at reading and language arts, right? But that's just an example, but you guys know what I mean, right? Like, we're very early on divided into categories and demographics, and so that's the mindset we take when we're looking to prospect, because we want to, the unconscious desire is to maximize our prospecting and our marketing so that it's more effective, and the way to do that is, okay, so who should I talk to in terms of the demographics or the categories that I know. Again, I wish I had more professionals on my team, right? And for me, it never made sense, because I never heard myself in any of the categories that people were looking for. Again, I was not a student that excelled necessarily in school. I was a movie theater usher when I was early in my career building this business. I got into my mid-30s. I was still a movie theater usher, making minimum wage. So, on the surface, I wasn't necessarily the ideal candidate if you were looking at candidates from a demographic and category lens, right? And so, that got me thinking, well, by doing that, I'm not saying it's not effective. However, you're potentially leaving out or ignoring a huge swath of the population that could potentially be your next superstar, like myself, who didn't really fit into any of those traditional and typical categories that people thought of as what they needed, or what they thought they needed to succeed in their businesses. So I started giving the people the advice of, well, stop looking at people in terms of category and demographics, and start looking at them in terms of criteria. Not even looking at them, right? Because fitting people into categories and demographics is all about a judgment call, right? Whereas criteria is really just seeing where they're at, right? And there's only two criteria that you need to succeed with this principle. The first criteria is, are you ready to make a change, right? Do you want to make a change in your life? And that's a pretty broad general question. Not likely the individuals that you come across or that you interact with will want to make some kind of change in their life. So that's an automatic in. The second, however, will start to kind of refine your search, and that is, well, are you ready to actually do something about it, right? And so I like these two criteria because, again, it strips judgment out of the equation, and it makes it about their decision, right? Are you looking for to make a change in your life? I have a potential solution. Therefore, are you ready to actually do something about it, right? And if you're not, that's okay. The door is still open. I won't burn any bridges. You have my number. Reach out to me when you are ready, right? And so it's a much more inclusive way of prospecting, quote unquote, or of marketing. And I know, early on, this was in regards to recruiting because that's all we talked about early in network marketing, at least early in my career. Today, since we are talking a lot more about, or we've made the shift into customer acquisition, the principle still works the same, right? Especially if you're doing person-to-person marketing, right? If you're growing your network and if you're having conversations in person, it's a matter of finding people who are looking to make a change in their life. And if the answer is yes, okay, I have a solution for you. Are you ready to actually do something about it, right? And if you're not, no big deal. You have my number. These products are always going to be here, or my service will always be available. Let me know when you're ready, and I'll help you out. It's as simple as that, right? And again, it works for both. It works for both recruiting business builders and business partners in the organization, and it works for customer acquisition. So that's the conversation for today. Category versus criteria, a principle that you can really use. Actually, you can use it online or offline, but it's a much more inclusive way of having a conversation that I think you'll have much more success with looking at people through the lens of criterias, and they select themselves in, as opposed to you selecting them and making the judgment in terms of what category they fit in. So category versus criteria, live by that principle. It's time tested, and I think it's one that's going to stand the test of time. So use it, teach it, and pass it on. That's it for today, guys. Thanks for tuning in. More from me tomorrow. Until then, be well, be safe. See you in the next episode.